Welcome to the fifth and final video of this short series. I hope you enjoy it. Welcome to the fifth video now. It picks up right where the third one has left, and it's about further measurements. Let's have a look. So this is the automation window of ICANN-NMR, and you can see here are the settings that we used before in video number 3. So the mode, we have an experiment, we have the portfolio, which is the standard one. And let's have a look how we can change and adapt these settings. So here's a zoom up of this. Let's have a closer look at the portfolio and adaptive spectra. Here you can see the standard portfolio. It's a proton HSQC, a carbon, and an HMBC. This is the order it is performed, and there is another portfolio which is offered by Bruker. So it's a lot bigger, and all these experiments are fit to be run within SmartDrive as they are. Now, this is a pretty long list, and it's possible to shrink this portfolio. And how does that look like? So here, if we choose for the portfolio, the full portfolio, you can see some of the experiments are yellow and others do not have this yellow highlight. So if we want to skip the Toxi and the 19F experiment, one can deselect them, which means we're performing the full portfolio without the 3 experiments. And this is possible basically for all the experiments except the proton experiment, the one up front. So a way to have some adaptations possible to a fixed portfolio by shrinking it. Now, let's have a look at the other settings, and this is mainly the mode. The mode is very important because it influences how the portfolio is approached. Let's have a look. If we have a fairly small molecule in the NMR tube, here it's ibuprofen, and let's start a measurement on this sample with experiment, standard portfolio, and 120 minutes. The result will be that the full portfolio is carried out. So proton HSQC, carbon, and HMBC, this will take about 50 minutes. If one starts the same sample with uptime, the result is quite different. Here in uptime, we will only get the proton experiment. Let's have a look at a measurement with a sample containing a molecule a lot larger. And here, the difference or the behavior of the 2 modes is exactly the same. In both modes, the full portfolio is carried out. This time it takes longer, around 90 minutes. That's because the 2Ds will take a little longer because of the non-uniform sampling. This is carried out. One needs a couple more increments for such a large molecule. But you never violate the restricted time, so the 120 minutes are honored in both modes and for both experiments, but a lot different what the 2 modes do. Here in a table overview, so what is the definition of an experiment? So with an experiment, you get the maximum possible number of experiments. In uptime, you get time optimal spectrometer usage. There are a few other things one can change, and one can override default values. So for the mole file, there is obviously no default value since every sample will have a different molecule inside. So one can provide the mole file. This can either be done by browsing or by drawing a mole file. Generally speaking, SmartDrive performs better if one does provide the mole file. The more info one gets, the better the results will be. The second thing one can change is the quantification reference spectrum. Here displayed is the spectrum that was defined in the portfolio. So it's possible to delete this and keep it empty if wanted, but then one does not get a concentration result, or one can choose a different one by browsing for another experiment with known concentration. And the third thing one can change, of course, is the time. So this is another way to influence the performance. So even if we take the big portfolio, so the full portfolio, and keep everything selected with adaptive spectra by just providing, let's say, half an hour or so, one would also shrink the portfolio. Depending on how concentrated the sample is, the way the portfolio is evaluated goes further, of course, the more concentrated the sample is. Now, let's summarize all the 5 videos using this picture. So what does SmartDrive do? You submit your sample with some info, then the spectrometer takes over. The time that you allow for the measurements is honored by SmartDrive, and whatever is needed will be measured. There the modes come into play. If you want to know more about SmartDriveNMR, we have a webinar. This was done by Barbara Schanetsky and myself in 2021. And there's also a comprehensive talk by Benjamin Gerling, and it's about 20 minutes also on SmartDriveNMR. Now, this is the end of the whole series and the 5th video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot for watching.